Yes. Another session, and welcome to everybody. Love to North London. Love to another victory. Absolutely amazing. Big love out to the Twitterati out there, and a very big, massive thank you to my mate man Adam for making it today. Unfortunately, everybody out there, Sean's due to work commitments, he's got a little bit of a sabbatical at this moment in time, but I know he's listening. I know he's thinking of us, jealous, bitter and twisted, with the fact that Adam, my main man, is going to be helping me. And Adam, mate, review time extra.
Absolutely delighted to be here again after another win. Let's keep it going. I've got the wine on the ready. Yeah, here we go.
What grapes have we got tonight, mate? What grapes have we got
tonight? I am drinking a Merlot, which is soft and smooth with notes of dark plum, mulberries, and subtle spices.
Fabulous. I got a cheeky little Pinot Noir this evening that I'm going to be slowly working my way through and slurring my speech as we get to the end of it.
Yes.
Very juicy and fruity, apparently, according to the write-up we got on there. But you know what? Again, second week in a row, I'm going to start on a bit of a somber note, but a positive, upbeat note. And I want everybody to kind of, if they can, just raise their glasses ever so slightly, mate, to the one and only Mr. Steve Braddock. Our groundsman died at the age of 58. I think he won the Brest Premiership pitch and also the Turf Top Influencer Award for 2019-2020. And it was quite touching at the Emirates. Everybody stood up and clapped, and some beautiful pictures of him with Arsene Wenger. I know Sean wanted to last week to raise a glass. So listen, guys, to everybody out there, this is Steve Braddock, okay?
Yes, Steve.
And to his family. So what we got on the show today, let's just go through quickly. Mate, we've got so much. Yeah, we're coming to the end of the transfer window. We're going to talk about some of the injuries. We're going to talk about the Fulham game. We're going to hopefully get some time to talk about the Aston Villa game. We're going to talk about our loanees as well. So very packed very packed show tonight, and generally looking for any questions, everybody, to those that are out there listening. So without further ado, let's just go in and let's start having a look at let's have a look at the stats. So did you get a chance to actually see the game or watch the game at all? I know you were at Carfest.
Yes, as you know, I was away the weekend, so I was gutted I couldn't be at the game, but also I did have a very good time. But I did manage to watch the game back in its entirety last night, actually, after I had a little nap in the afternoon. So I did watch it. I couldn't not watch. I could have just watched the highlights, but I thought no, I'm a bit sad like that. I knew the result. It's never the same when you know the result, but it's still good to be able to watch the game and see what happens. First of all, I was gutted I weren't there because the atmosphere just sounded absolutely electric. And I'm really hoping that it'll be this. I'm sure it will be. I'm looking forward to the Villa game tomorrow. I'm going to be going to that one, and I'm hoping that it'll be just as good. But I thought for me that was the kind of game that makes me feel quite proud, because it's the kind of game that we probably wouldn't have got a win last season. It's that kind of game that we would have struggled, gone our heads down. But the character's there this year. You can tell. And when we did go a goal behind, the fans, didn't kind of let that get to them either. The negativity didn't come back in, and I thought that the players reacted really well, and they kept going. And and we were full value for the win. A lot of people I'm seeing are saying we were lucky winning against Fulham. It's like we were full value for it. Yeah, it was 2-1. We had to come from behind, but we were full value. It doesn't, like, anyone who watched that game will tell you that it could have been 4-5-1 and it wouldn't have flattered us.
I think for me, there's a couple of things actually stood out, and we were talking about. And so actually, I've got a bit of an apology because I called Marco Silva Scott Parker. Not really sure how that happened on the vlog coming in. I think I was a little bit excited, so I've got to apologise for that. And maybe we'll touch on that. To be honest, we will touch on Scott Parker, and I crazy decision by Bournemouth. But what can I say? It was an amazing atmosphere, and honestly, these fans that we have are absolutely stunning. The connection that we have with the team, and the Tequila song that just kept going on and on with Saliba that went in. But you're absolutely right. I think if you look at Mitrovic, or Metrobus as I like to call him, his stats are some really quite amazing stats. It's like one every other game. And in Premiership, he's like one of the top 4 scorers in the Premiership. But what a pantomime full like just rolling around like an absolute idiot. And the fans gave it to him, and incitement of the fans as well when he came on and started making stupid gestures because we caught him out falling around. But to me, it wasn't actually, Arsenal versus Fulham. It was Martin Odegaard versus Fulham.
Yeah, he was great, wasn't
he? Mate, what a player! The capability. It was like, and I don't want to be sort of putting too much pressure on the kid's shoulders and stuff because he's a young guy. But it reminded me of watching like a hybrid between Bergkamp and Cesc Fabregas. He just knew exactly where everything was. That they play in 2s and 3s in the actual on the actual pitch itself. And Odegaard is out there on the right with Saka, doing all sorts of things, kind of rotating around. But his ball control was out of this world, mate. It was just beautiful to watch. It was absolutely stunning to watch. And the other one for me was Martinelli. Martinelli is just unplayable at the moment. I have no idea what they're putting in his Wheaties, but please, I could do with some. I could absolutely do with some right now because he's just been all over the place. He's absolutely the driving force behind it. And I wanted to kind of go through a couple of bits. Actually, there's one thing I wanted to share with you was a sort of formational stat from the Brentford game that Fulham played. Now, I've heard all the same stuff. They're mugs, they're nothing, they're this, they're no real test. They're a real test. They didn't sort of turn up to just play.
They're a different team. They're a different Fulham this season than they were 2 seasons ago. Completely.
You look at the layout. Where have we seen this before? They're virtually matching what we were doing. They're virtually matching us one on one.
That's interesting.
And this is the team. This is the team that actually went on to be, to be a very, very capable Brentford side. Now, these are not mugs. These guys. The other one, of course, is that when we look at our formation that sits in there, and I'll just, if you look at our formation as well, and the way that we sat, very, very interesting that they kind of tried to match us player for player as we went in. I'm telling you, within 30 minutes, that went back to a 4-4-2. They could not control our midfield. They had to hold back. They had to hope that Mitrovic could actually bomb on and actually do it. And it was amazing to actually see that dynamic change. The amount of energy and drive coming from our midfield and the way it was opened up. Jesus didn't get his goal again, but absolutely incredible to see that change, having to actually physically change the team to try and keep up with us. We were absolutely unplayable in the actual game. And I think if we sort of look at some of the stats, if I could just get those up. If we look at some of the stats he says, when I can find them on there, that is telling. Absolutely.
Says it all, doesn't it? Says it all.
If you go and have a look at the Brentford stats, so the Fulham Brentford stats, it was really even. It was like a 50-50. We dominated all the way through. 742 touches. I mean, just to 390. 742. We actually, our ball distribution was quite amazing in the actual game itself. So anybody who turns around and says that these guys are mugs, go and have a look at the Brentford stats. Go and have a look at the way this team plays and just go and look at what we've actually done. We absolutely bossed the game all the way through. Now, the question obviously has to be asked, and there was a couple of moments when El Neni in the first half, in the first 15 minutes, wasn't really tuned in. And I think that's a little bit of ring rust as we kind of go through that. He hasn't played for a long time. A little bit of ring rust. He's kind of come in. There were a few telling passes that went through, and I thought, oh my god, like you're going to have to need to get into this, and he missed out on that. But when you see those statistics, you see the quality of play, and you see the fact that we ended up at some points had 8 defenders. I counted 8 of them in the second half in trying to stop us from beating them. Absolutely. Respect to the fans again for the love for Leno. Respect for that. They really, unlike Martinez, but Martinez turned tough from the Martinez when he came in. He genuinely got a really good roasting from the fans. Leno absolutely, and respect to him actually for that. He played his heart out.
He done all right, didn't he? He done all right then. He made a couple of important stops. I mean, I think that last goal probably shows one of the reasons why he didn't make it at Arsenal. He wasn't very commanding when put under pressure. And I think that said a lot about his Arsenal time in that last moment of the game. And that, fair enough. But he got a decent reception from what I can see, and he made a couple of very important saves from Saka, in the first half, which I thought Saka probably should have done better.
Yes.
But at the same time, he come out quick and he narrowed that gap, which is always difficult. But it's always nice to see a player return to the club who you don't really dislike, and he got a decent roundup. And we've got another keeper coming back this week as well, haven't we? Old Martinez is going to come back this week. So
he's going to get it.
He won't get it as nice as Leno, will he? Let's be honest.
No, for his tweets. The other one was again when Metrobus decided to take out. I can't remember who it was he was taking out. I think it was like you just giving Tierney a leathering. Yeah. No, not Tommy Ashley. I'll get to him in a minute because I just want to hug that guy. I genuinely want to man hug him. But when we look at Mitrovic and what he actually did is one of the fouls, and the scuffle kind of broke out, and it's just silly, usual footballers' handbags. And watching Ramsdale come sprinting out, absolutely sprinting out, getting right up in his face, getting right, and it just shows that camaraderie that this team actually have. But it was the interplay, the way that the ball's played, the speed at which we're moving right now. And it's only until you get to the Man Cities and Liverpool. I mean, obviously Liverpool coming back strong, 9-0 against Bournemouth.
Just a bit. That's a statement, isn't it? Lose to Man United.
Well, I dread to think what Klopp. I just dread what Klopp did. What Klopp did on that bus after that drubbing by Man United, and they played well. And I thought Man United actually were very lackluster against Southampton. Generally,
I didn't see any of that game. The Southampton Man United game, didn't see any of that. But from what I've read, they deserved the win, but it wasn't a classic by any stretch of the imagination.
Mate, that's 2 hours of your life you've kept and saved. It was a beautiful.
Do you just think that with Liverpool though, it was a case that the asthma inhalers got delivered to Liverpool this week? That's what it was. Or...
They were late, mate. They were absolutely.
They were late. Yeah.
They were late as it went on. But I've got to say, when I look at. Okay, let's talk about Scott Parker, mate, and his stupid cardigan. But do you think, if you think back, so you think back to all the Arteta haters, and we're going to lead into something in a second, right? So you think about all the Arteta haters on his 100th game, like if we'd have gone back a season, do you think the board, what would happen if the board had sacked Arteta after 3 games? And they've done this to Scott Parker. I mean, the guy was a bit of an idiot to actually come out and said, things could potentially get worse in an interview. His obviously emotions were raw at that point. But to fire him 3 games in, do you think that's a good thing?
No, not at all. Well, it's 4 games, let's be honest. He won the first game. The thing what gets me the most is, right, the Bournemouth hierarchy. Yeah, you're going to be embarrassed after a 9-0, don't get it wrong. But if they looked at it purely from a points perspective and they looked at their first 4 games, Villa at home, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, they would have been happy with 3 points. Let's be honest. Anything above 3 points would have been an absolute bonus for them. I do think it did have something to do with his attitude, though, at the end. That for me was telling, like, I don't think he was. I think generally a manager deserves more time after 4 games, regardless. Even if they've lost all 4, I think a manager deserves time. But it was the fact that he was so down and didn't back his kind of players, didn't kind of own up. He just said, it could get worse, and that was what he was kind of saying. And then that doesn't send confidence to the club, to the fans, to the players. And if it's purely from that angle, I get it. When I first saw the news this morning, I was thinking, that's a bit harsh, and he, if I would have had a bet, he wouldn't have been the one I had a bet on. But then the more I think of that was his attitude. He didn't come out fighting or anything. He's kind of like, was that his way of? Was it his way of kind of thinking we ain't good enough in this league? Let's get out of here, like with a payout kind of thing, or was it his way of saying you need to spend more money to keep us in? I don't know, but for me, it doesn't. It stinks of poor leadership. Just is, that's what it is for me.
Well,
I know, and again from.
Go on, mate. Sorry. No, finish.
I was going to say, and that's what it is, and I think that. If you've got a manager like that who's bringing you into the Premier League, perhaps he's not quite cut out for this league. That's where I was kind of going to go with that.
I think you're absolutely right. Personally, I couldn't really care less. I'm an Arsenal fan, so So really couldn't care less. I know I live in Hampshire, but honestly, couldn't care less.
No,
We've just gone
no.
through.
I'll tell you what, though. I bet old Sam Allardyce is rubbing his hands together.
Oh, Big Sam will go in
Yeah.
and destroy it all for them and put the most boring football.
He's trying to find one of those cardigans in his side at the moment. I think he's trolling through.
I think they call it a tent, mate. But the flip to that, the flip to that is when you think back to the Manchester United defeat with Wenger. Did they get rid of Wenger? I mean, I know it's not.
No.
I know you can't put Parker and Wenger in the same sort of mold, right?
No, but we went out and bought 5 players the next day.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
That's true. Yeah. So, hello, Terry, mate. Listen,
hey, Terry, you're right, mate.
You need to sort out this boiler fixing and stuff when we're on. Get yourself a bottle of wine. Get yourself sat down. Come on. Come and see us, mate. Come and see us on there. So, look. So going back to the game itself, what I saw energy. I saw drive.
Yeah.
I also saw massive hold in our midfield. Right. Zinchenko and Partey missing. We talked about Partey. I thought Tierney played really well because everybody's been having a go at Tierney. I thought he played exceptionally well. I thought as a unit we played well, and we deserved that win. We went into our shell for 15 minutes when that first goal went in. The fans, to me, were absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. And we've just got a different team. But you know what? As we talked about, this is Arteta's 100th game in charge, which I think is mind-blowingly bonkers, right? It's absolutely bonkers.
But is it mind-blowing because it seems like he's been here longer?
No, I feel like it's like 2 minutes. When
I don't know. Part of me ignores the Emery era and thinks it went straight from Wenger to Arteta. So for me, it seems like it should be longer, in a way, because I think I've just blocked the Emery era out of my mind. So for me, it seems like it's a little bit longer. But then I know, on the other hand, you think you can't count that many seasons with him in the players he's bought, really. So it's a weird one.
It's an interesting. So it's an interesting one. It's a stat I sent you earlier, wasn't it? It's was it 6 years or 9 years? What did we say? It was 6 years. 6 years ago today, we bought Squadron Mustafi.
Yeah, 6 years ago. That seems a long while ago. That seems a lot longer. But then that says a lot about him. So,
the man in 6 months in the Bundesliga, 6 months, was actually rated as the worst player in the league. He hadn't even done a full season. Just won it hands down.
35 million for him. £35 million 6 years ago was probably the equivalent of about 70 million today. It's ridiculous.
And that was Wenger as well. And to think, actually, we bought Odegaard for that price now.
Yeah,
that's it. But that was a Wenger buy, and I remember all the fans on his back. Everyone's like, "Hey, yeah, this guy, he's in the German world, the same team that Ozil was in, and they won the World Cup and all that." What nobody actually went and checked at that time is the fact he was injured. He was injured.
But this is the thing, like, I think, again, I mentioned it to you earlier. On his debut, he had a really good game, and I remember thinking, got a good defender here. This is someone we've been looking for ages. Didn't have the height, but he was quite fast.
Yeah.
Then he was quite fast, and he read the game quite well. I can't remember who he played. I think it was like not a major team, but he was comfortable and he had a really solid game. And I was thinking, right, that's his first game. He's going to be good. I never remember him really performing any time since then, and just remember him giving me a lot of headaches and heart palpitations. Really.
Yeah, a lot of back passes that you think, I'm going to throw a shoe at you, like I am way up high, and I'm going to throw a big shoe at you, and I'm going to take you out. But let's just have a quick one, mate. I've just got a little stat for you. A little stat what we're going to.
I like a stat.
You do. I know you like your stats, mate. I know that's why I do what I do.
Is it a Squadron Mustafi stat?
It's not a Squadron Mustafi stat, right? What we're going to do is
I'm not interested anymore. Sorry.
So listen. I'm going to throw it out here. Wenger, Arteta, Graham. Right? Mm-hmm. Who's the top boy? Who's the top boy?
In regards to what, though?
One in the first 100 games, from a points perspective, to the games won, lost, drawn.
I mean, I'd assume Wenger without putting much thought to it, because
you think so. Right, let's have.
Well, I'm only assumptions here. I've got nothing in front of me, but you're probably, now you've said that, are gonna blow me away a bit.
Whoa,
George Graham.
Georgie.
Always loved him. Always loved him. You know.
So to the Arteta outers, right? So to all the Arteta outers, right? Look, back off. back off the guy. Actually,
So obviously Graham had lost more games though. Given
Yeah.
that, Wenger's obviously got the upper hand on the losses there. Arteta don't draw games, obviously. That's one
we
thing
don't
we've
do that.
noticed.
Let's screw
I
that.
tell you what, the goals are very similar. Really, there's only 6 goals in there. Really, I mean
Yeah.
Herbert Chapman. Though, look at them marauders, them with the goals, but they did concede at the other end.
Yeah, he had a Brazilian feel to him, the way he goes. But it's interesting. We're 100 years in, and look at the stat. 100 years. It feels like 100 years after today. But no,
So
mate, games.
that's incredible. 1 point more than Wenger, George Graham, in first 100 game. That's incredible. I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah, well played, George.
But stats be stats. So it's an interesting sort of thing to look at, and it's interesting the Emery era, because I call it the Brill Cream era. I've never seen so much sort of greased up hair and tracksuit tops as we wandered through. For me, Arteta, it feels like yesterday that the Sky News crew were following him around and seeing all the negotiators going into his house. And for his first, that's his first job. And I know Rich and I have gone on and on and on about Wenger, Graham, Arteta. But for me, mate, I think he's done a great job. And this weekend was a culmination of everything for me. Absolutely, the culmination of a brilliant team. And it doesn't matter where we end up today, right? To where we end up by the end of the season.
It's interesting though, right? Because all 3 of those managers, they all come in obviously a manager only takes over when the club is in trouble, but they all come in at a time when the club was in real dire straits. You know what I mean? And to have those stats over the first 100 games is impressive all around. If you think about it, and all of them had to mould their own squads. Like none of them, I'd love to look at the stats now between obviously we've seen recently the Arteta's first game compared to the current game about the players have changed. I'd love to see how Wenger's and Graham's looks actually, to see kind of how much they changed as well. Like the teams from their first game to their 100th game. That would be quite interesting.
I'll take that, mate. I'll take that. We'll get that for next week. So for next week, we're going to have a look at first teams to where we are today. That's an interesting concept. But look, the bottom line for me is The bottom line for me is I sort of see an evolving team. I see a synergy with the fans that wasn't there in Emery and towards the end of Wenger. Don't get me wrong, I love Wenger. I love Arsene Wenger for what he did. But I just think 100 games in, everybody needs to just back a little bit off and just take it a little bit easy, right? Because ultimately, for me, I want to see how far we can go in Europa. And I think we've got a good chance of winning it. I'd like to see us win it. I'd like to see us get to that point in Europa League. But, we've got to get top 4. We've just got to get top 4 this season.
Yeah.
We missed it by this much, mate, like this tiny much. But it's a different team. What do you think the midfield's going to do for us against Villa, mate? Where do you feel? What do you think?
It's one of these things. We were having the back and forth on our group chat today, weren't we? And I think that it's going to be interesting. Like, obviously, we were assuming that Partey's out. We're assuming that El Nenny's out long term. From what I've seen tonight, Zinchenko's ruled himself out of the Villa game as well, but hopes to be back for the weekend. There's 2 ways. I think that someone put something on Twitter earlier that made me think, do you put Ben White in that number 6 position and put Tommy back in the team? That will give you that extra kind of security at the back. And that kind of makes sense to me a little bit. But I also feel that Sambi probably deserves a chance. And when I say a chance, he probably deserves a run in the side, not just in and out. He deserves to kind of have that moment to kind of get himself in there. And what's the point in having these squad players if you're not going to give them a chance? If you're not going to send him out on loan, then you need to, give him that chance. But those are the 2 I'm thinking of, either Ben White bringing Tommy back in, because Tommy now looks like he's ready to go. He's ready. He's chomping at the bit. He needs minutes now. But then Sambi hasn't really had that more than 3 games in a row. He needs that at that young age, I think. And I think he could do a job. You're never going to know if he can do a job without playing him.
What about Smith Rowe? Doing something
for that deep line role? I think he obviously what you'd have to do is put Xhaka back to the 6.
Yeah.
And then, but
Smith
I
Rowe
don't
out
know if you
left.
could. I don't know if you could put Smith Rowe and Odegaard as the advanced midfielders.
No,
I think that they might be beaten up a little bit, the two of them.
yeah. I think
Lightweight wise.
Xhaka could do the role. I think Xhaka
Oh,
could.
Jack has done the role before. He's done the role before, 100%. It's whether you put Xhaka there. But Xhaka's had such a good start to the season playing that more advanced kind of number 8 role. You don't
Yeah.
really want to jeopardise that. He's getting in those forward positions. So it's a real tough one for me. And it'd be interesting to see how he does it. I personally would probably like to see Sambi given a chance. So if I had to go one way or another.
If I'm honest with you, I would like to see Sambi go on loan. And the only reason
To Burnley.
Burnley. Yeah, Sambi to Burnley. You heard it here first, everyone. Right? Sambi to Burnley. It's happening. It's happening. Right, Adam and I've been talking about this for a long time. Feel it. Sambi to Burnley. Look. So I just think the kid is immensely talented. And by the way, Eddie Nketiah, if you're listening, I know you are. I know you listen on a regular, mate. You should have. You had 2 goals, mate. You should have smashed those in. He made a massive difference, by the way.
To be fair, don't you think he played well when he come on, Eddie?
Absolutely.
I saw a lot of people having a pop like before I'd watched the game back, and I was expecting a night. I thought he handled himself really well. He put himself about, made himself trouble.
Listen. It's well known in certain circles that I'm not his biggest fan, or haven't been. I've got to take my hat off, although I don't have a hat. I've got to take whatever headwear that I've got to doff my cap to that man, because he played absolutely brilliantly. He roughed them up. He caused them trouble. He was just a pain in the old proverbial backside.
He was what we needed at that time. Absolutely. He was what we needed.
He was ruffling them feathers on the Fulham boys. And I was very pleased that they went back with their tail between legs. But going back to Sambi, I would like to see Sambi Lokonga go to another team on loan and actually spend the whole season getting full-time minutes. I just think the pressure that would be on him now, Adam, would be too big for his young shoulders.
So who would you put in tomorrow night then?
Who would I put in tomorrow night? Oh God, you'd have to put Xhaka in. You'd have to put Xhaka into that midfield piece. You'd have to, and I've got some interesting stats on that. Have you seen the head-to-head stats between us and Villa?
No, I know Villa have had a decent time against us recently, though. Apart from last season. But...
You think so?
Well, okay. at the Emirates, I know they've got a decent record, and I know that much. But you're going to probably prove otherwise now. I can think off the top of my head 3 or 4 games when they've beat us at the Emirates, and they've really annoyed me. That's
how many wins? Over the years, mate. Over the years of the Premiership, the 30-odd years that the Premiership's been going, how many wins do you think Villa have actually got against the Arsenal?
Total wins.
Total wins, mate.
I think it's probably only about 7 or 8. I don't think
11,
it's a lot.
Actually, it's about 11.
Okay.
30 for us. So it's 30. 3 times the amount, virtually. 14 draws each. Yeah, so 14 draws. 30 losses. They've lost to us 30 times, as it says.
When we've won 30, it usually means they've lost 30, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just checking your maths, mate. I'm just checking your maths on that, right?
You're checking I'm still listening.
I did say that by the end of it, what we're 30 minutes in, I'm half a bottle of Pinot in. So just ease off. But they've scored 48 goals against us. We've scored 96. Right? We've scored 96. My view of it is we need to. I'm hoping. Well, I don't know what's coming out with Zinchenko at this moment in time. Okay. There was that picture. What's that picture of him at Luton Airport waiting for his Ukrainian?
Oh, come on. He was waiting for his mum. Mum was coming to visit. Well, I don't know, but it's as much. Be rational. I'm going to cover this on Thursday a little bit more. Yes, there was a picture of Zinchenko waiting at Luton Airport. If their Arsenal are going to sign a player, do they send Zinchenko to the airport?
Of course they do. Oh, come on. Zinchenko was fighting with a third official, for God's sake. Like he was scrapping it up at the.
I'm not having none of that. He was going to the airport. He's going to pick up his mum or his girlfriend or brother. He was not going to meet a player. He's really not going to meet a player. I'm sorry.
He was getting his duty-free fags on the way through. Job done.
Yeah.
Not we condone smoking on the over and over.
And who knows? Who says that picture was taken like today or last night? There was no timestamp on it.
Are you telling me the internet lies? Like I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Listen,
there is no way. There is no way.
Okay, yeah. I hope I'm proved otherwise, and I hope I see these messages of Zinchenko in the back of his Fiesta giving a lift to this fella, to Colney. You know, I hope that I see that. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't see why we'd send a player. Oh, by the way, we've got a player coming in. Oleg, can you just nip down and get him for me? Yeah, no problem. I've got time off. He's injured. He's injured. He's not playing this tomorrow. They're not going to stick him in a car when he's injured to drive to an airport when he's not injured and he can't play.
Listen, Adam, how many times have you and I done that for the family? Take one for the team, had to go down, pick the lad up from the airport. And Luton Airport, of all airports, Luton Airport. Yeah, like, really? Exactly. Come on, behave yourself.
I only live 40 minutes from Luton Airport. If I would have known, I could have drove there and see if he was there. But I'm not that sad.
But there's some interesting stats, right? I was looking at the Villa, like the Villa piece, and my apologies for looking down. I should really have my sticky notes up around my screen. But what I found with Villa is that when they change their formation this season, when Gerrard actually changes their formation, they actually lose. So when they do 4-4-3, they lose 2-0 to Bournemouth, right? Which is interesting. They did 4-4-2. They did 4-4-3. When they did 3-4-3, very similar to us, yeah, they won 2-1 against Everton, who were doing a 4-4-2. And it was interesting because Everton did Fulham went to 4-4-2 against us, and they lost. So it's obviously where they're trying to hold it off. When they did, they also went back to a 4-3-3 Villa against Palace, who were doing 4-3-3. Right, the same. They matched Palace. They lost. It was a 3-1, and Zaha absolutely battered them. And by the way, for everybody, Southampton are 2-1 up against Chelsea at this moment.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So that's just come through. So I just got when I look at the formations, I look at the stat. What Arteta's actually done is he's stayed true to form actually with formations. Even when we went back to his first game, up to his 100th game, it's exactly the same formation. He has his way of doing. He has his plan A.
And what you're basically saying is Gerrard hasn't got a clue.
I wouldn't so much. I wouldn't go far because I like Stevie Gerrard for what he did for England and everything else. But yes, basically, I think ultimately, the guy hasn't got a clue. So he's going to be him and Parker are going to be looking for new jobs. Maybe he can go and play for. He can go.
Did you hear though? There was a thing going around that since Gerrard's been at Villa, he's statistically the worst manager the Premier League's seen. Evidently, that's an actual. No, evidently that's an actual fact. Like from games to where we are now, he's like point tally and win to lose ratio.
Seriously,
in his tenure. Yeah.
Oh wait, I really hope he goes to Tottenham then. Like I would say Tottenham needs to, but forget Conte. Tottenham need. I mean that was a skanky win against Nottingham Forest. I have to say. So look. So it's an interesting statistic. What's your feeling? What's your feeling for tomorrow? I know you're going to be there, and I'm really sorry, mate, because I was going to get you absolutely drunk by your hot dog, but I'm not going to be there. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Edinburgh, so I will be watching.
Everton game it is, Steve. Everton game it is. That's the next one, isn't it?
Mate, I might even get the train. I won't drive.
Let's make a day of it. Why not?
Let's get there at like 7 a.m. Get down to Pizza Hut.
Anyway, what I think tomorrow night, I'm really looking forward to it. First game at the Emirates under the lights is always going to be a good one. It's again, I never like playing teams when they're due a win. Like, you know what I mean? Like Villa have been playing awful. They're due a performance, they're due a win. But I just don't see it in their team. I think that individuals, they look all right. But when I've seen them play, they look very disjointed. I like Ollie Watkins up front. Yes. I like that Douglas Luiz in midfield. I think he's a good player. The defence seems to be a bit all over the place. And I think if we can start on the front foot, first 15, 20 minutes, go at them like we did against Bournemouth, heads could just drop. And I think if Arteta just goes with that kind of, first 15, 20 minutes, let's go out there, let's not give them a chance, let's press, get 1 or 2 goals, we'll be out of sight. I just don't think they're going to have it in them to get back. And then it could just be a controlled game like we've seen against, Bournemouth and to an extent against Palace. First 15, 20. And I hope that that's the way we do go out, regardless of the formation we put, regardless of the team we put out, because they're obviously training this way. So whoever comes in should be used to that training. It's just whether they're used to the intensity. Like you seen with El Neni the other day, it took him a long while to get into that, game intensity. So it's whoever we bring in needs to kind of be ready straight away. But you've got to fancy us, and I'm never going to. At the moment, I'm not going to predict anything other than a win. You know, I'm not.
At what point? At what point do you actually turn around and go, actually, you know what, we're a good side? Yeah, because I always feel like as an Arsenal fan, you know, and maybe you back me up, but we're always a little bit humble. It's like, yeah, they're due a win. I don't want to do that. And it might go and it might do this. At what point do you actually turn around and say, look, you know, screw it. We're a good side. We're hard to beat.
Yeah.
You know, but
so I don't think I've felt that way since like the mid-Wenger years, probably, like that I've been that confident, you know. And I really want to get to that stage again where I am that confident that we will go out and have that. But I know football. I know that football's a beast and can trick you, and you know anyone can beat anyone at any time, and that's what I always, and that's why we love it, and that's why we love football, that kind of stuff. And I always know that Arsenal are just one red card, one stupid decision away from imploding. I hope that's not the case, and we do seem to have the right players. But we haven't really been tested yet. Even though Fulham were a goal up against the other day, we haven't really been tested yet. And do I think it will come against what?
Mate, I don't normally, you and I don't normally fall out, right? But I've got to take umbrage with that comment, right? Crystal Palace are no mugs. They're a difficult side to play. To get them on their first day.
I'm not saying it's been. We've made it look easier. We can only beat the teams who are ahead of you. And the teams who played are Premier League sides. They're not League One, League Two sides. Premier League sides, fine. But what I mean is, no one, apart from Palace for a spell, have really taken it to us. Yes. Leicester tried to when we were already a couple of goals down and we were able to get back. But it is if a team starts off like we've been starting off. That's going to be the test. Do I think Villa are that team? No, I don't think Villa are a team to do that. Could Man United do it? Who knows? But I'm more thinking around the Man Cities, the Liverpools, who do go out fast. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you know,
agreed. And that to me is the test, right? That to me is the test. Man United is going to be a difficult game. And by the way, if anyone's got a ticket, I'm desperate for a ticket.
Yeah, me too. Make that too, please.
I was sitting in the toilet. Yeah, Adam and I need a couple of tickets. Come and help us out. And don't be doing none of that fake stuff, like DMing me with the fake stuff, because I can see through it. But look, you know, Man United, I've always said, like, I like Man United because they're the pantomime villain. They're the hooded claw, aren't they? They're the ones that everybody loves to hate. But deep down, when that's the only team in Europe, we always go and watch them. We always watch Man United because I actually. So I've got to put that up, actually. I've got to put that up. So, Terry, mate, by the way, I totally agreed with your comments that you put on the... this is what Terry said. To be fair, Villa have been an awful side.
They have been awful, yeah.
Our easiest win on paper. Right? It never is an easy... Mate, nothing in the Premiership's an easy win. But actually... So Terry put up a couple of bits, and I think you got a bit of abuse for no reason at all. Like, you know, you turned around and said, actually, our midfield looks a little bit ropey at times. I agree. First 15, 20 minutes, it's like El Neni didn't actually get his head around it all. But I think the second half, you know, like the last quarter of an hour on the first half and the second half, we absolutely battered them. We slapped their legs. But back to the Man United thing. I think, you know, Adam, I can't help look at that team and look at the quality that's in there, right? There's no way you can turn around and say the likes of Sancho, the likes of Rashford, the likes of Fernandes, the likes of Fred polishing boots and maybe filling up the water bottles, absolutely professional all the way through. It's like, honestly, I could play better than Fred could. I'm not having that. McTominay should be fired from a clown cannon. Right, you know, somewhere or the other, because I just can't stand the bloke. But you know, you look at the purchases they've done. You know, and I'm going to be really, really controversial here. That old slabhead actually is not a bad defender, and I think he is the lightning rod for all of the hate of the Manchester United fans. But actually, I don't think he's that bad a defender. I think he's actually pretty good. I think the rest of the people around him are awful. And Martinez now, I'm so glad we didn't buy him. But, you know, he is actually, you know, he's an aggressive pit bull kind of sort of defender. So that team actually is pretty good. But Ten Hag is Arteta 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. He's three years ago. What needs to happen is actually people need to calm down. Like I saw the Glazers out. There's a big thing on the Glazers out. And I sat back and I thought, no, I don't know the ins and outs of Man United. I don't really give a shit, to be honest. So I don't really care. Sorry, I shouldn't say. Sorry for swearing. I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is, from what I can see, they seem to have put a lot of money into the team. They've just got.
They've spent a fortune. They've spent a fortune. Like they can't be unhappy about them backing the club financially. I don't know where that's come from. Whether they're signing the right players, that's not up to them. That's the manager.
That's the manager.
You know what I mean? So, I'm with you on that. I mean, I've got a few friends who are Man United fans, and they don't genuinely blame the Glazers. They blame the manager more than anything.
Yes.
Saying that they could potentially blame the Glazers for not getting the right manager, but who else would they get? They wanted Mourinho. They got Mourinho. That turned into a disaster. They wanted Solskjaer because he was a legend, and that didn't really work out that well. And now Ten Hag is the next best thing since sliced bread. We'll see. But like you said, I do think he is that up-and-coming young manager, and they need to give him time. They do need to let him bring his own players in and mould it. But God knows where they're getting all this cash from, because they are just splashing out £80 million on this Antony. I don't know how he might be great, but on someone who's played in the Dutch top league, to spend that kind of money just seems extreme.
Well, it's a mandatory tax, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Ajax have been like Ajax have had sales of 250 odd million this summer. Like they're by far and away. They've done all right. Ajax must be well happy. They'll still win the league.
And that's an interesting one. It's what the hell are UEFA doing, putting us on financial fair play? Get over yourself, you bunch of criminals. Like there's a bigger. You never come across a bigger bunch of criminals with Platini and what's his name? Oh God, what was he? The old idiot that was in charge. Sorry,
Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter. Yeah, more corrupt you couldn't come across. They put Arsenal. We're going to look
on the watch list.
Have a look at Barcelona. Yeah. That Barcelona are trying to actually, reset everybody's contracts because they can't pay them. So go have a look in Spain. Go have a look in Spain. Jeez. So, but it goes back to my question is, Adam, at what point, as fans, do we turn around and say, actually, what a good side, and
I'll tell you when.
When, mate? Tell me.
Next Monday, given the next two results are okay.
So we're saying for Aston Villa. So we're saying for Villa, then we're going to beat them. I tend to agree, and I think it's going to be a great game. What do we think for Manchester United, though?
Oh, Man United away, that always scares me. Even though we have had a couple of really good results there, the 8-2 and the 6-1, that will always haunt me. I want, obviously, we can beat them. We can. It's again, this for me is all about a mentality thing rather than an ability. It's mentality over ability, because on paper, our team has got more ability than their team. I fully believe that. We had more ability than their team last year, and we still managed to lose 3-2. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that was a mentality thing. That wasn't an ability thing why we lost there this year.
Yeah, let me hold that. Didn't we beat them at home, though? Just putting it out there.
Oh, yeah. At home, we've had a few good results at them, and that's when you've got the crowd behind you and we start well. But Old Trafford just seems to have this place like the All or Nothing documentary, and Arteta was saying, I was on the end of 5-0 defeats here at Anfield. You don't tell the players that. No wonder they went out there and got stuffed. That's not what you want to tell these players. You just want to kind of reiterate the positive stuff. So the players do seem a different gravy, let's call it this year. They do seem to have a lot more focus. They seem to be a lot more positive. They have that lot more, I suppose, camaraderie as well. They're fighting for each other. Yes. So if we can keep that, and because Old Trafford will be noisy, they always are against Arsenal. If we can keep that at bay and not let them get to us, because they are young shoulders at the end of the day, and we can get past the opening 10, 15 minutes without any issues and hopefully take the game to them, then I'm confident we'll get a result.
Yes.
There's a few ifs in there, though, isn't there? So
no, I've got no ifs. I've got no ifs.
Yeah.
So there's 3 or 4 teams to me that are going to be yardstick for us this season, right? And forget, I'm fed up. I'm absolutely sick to the back teeth of saying, you haven't really won against anybody worthwhile. You haven't done this. You haven't done it. We've beaten whoever's in front of us. I am not saying we're going to win the league. I've never said that. Right? I've never said that. Top 4 for me. More than happy. Right? You might turn around and say, "Oh God, look, He's into mediocrity. But look, I'm into realism. I'm into absolute real. We have not got petrodollar money, right? The bottom line is, if we could, the test will come, right? Yes, yeah, I'm hoping Maguire plays as well. Slab it, but again, I think he's a good defender. I believe the test will come when we have Haaland running at us, right? Man City, and what goes on there, and Liverpool. When they are not now, when they're fully fit, when everybody's there. The whole team are actually there. Everybody's fit.
Liverpool didn't even have their signing, did he? Nunes, he weren't even there because he was suspended, and they still scored 9.
Yeah, and geez. And on top of that, let's add Newcastle to that, right?
Yeah.
Sam Maximin's goal this weekend, devastating. The way they went at Man City, devastating. That is a team that has got petrodollar money, right? And as we all know, the oil prices and everything else that goes on. So absolutely devastating. These will be the defining moments for us as a team. But the rest of them that are out there, do you know what? I sit back and think we've got a good team.
I agree with you at the moment. I'm very confident. Like I'm always a very much traditionalist. Take each game as it comes, and I don't generally look at tables until that 10 games, until you are that quarter of the way through. I tend not to really look at much because one win can get you right up there or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't really make much sense. But it's hard not to get carried away when you are playing so well and getting the results. Exactly. And out of all of the results, the Fulham one was the one that gave me actually the most pleasure because it was that more battle. And I do, like I said at the beginning, it is a game that I don't think we would have won last year. We might have scraped a draw. But it was one of those games where I don't think we'd have won. And that, for me, shows the character that we've now got.
Oh, mate, for sure. And it's so nice to go to the Emirates. It's not toxic. It's not horrible. People are singing the songs. Even when we're 1-0 down, even when Saliba scored an own goal. Oh, my God. Like Saliba at that age, to have that composure, to do what he does, love him. He's a Rolls Royce. That sits within there. These are the games, but ultimately, we're beating what's in front of us. We're playing particularly well. It's a type of football that we like and we love and we enjoy. As fans, it's fun to watch. So, I'm just enjoying my Emirates time right now. Goes in.
It is, and do you know what? It's one of these things that for a while, and I think we mentioned before, I used to go to the football, but not always enjoy it. Like sometimes it used to feel like a bit of a chore, but it doesn't feel like that way. And that's what football should feel like. It should feel like you're enjoying it. And that's what now I'm loving. I'm loving the fact that, because I'm very much a family man, and I've been going to the football since I've had a season ticket at Arsenal since I was 8. So I've been very, very fortunate. Wow. And I've been going, home and away for many, many years. And since the family have come along, I've tended to only go to home games. And when we've been performing badly, it's been quite hard to kind of say to my missus, going football, like, why are you going there again, putting yourself through this, putting yourself through that? It's like, it's what I know and it's what I do. It's a lot easier to say it now we're winning. And now she kind of gets it more and she understands that, and I'm coming back happy and, things like that. But again, we're going to have our ups and downs. But I think as long as we've got the team with the attitude and this kind of character, that's going to take us far. And the biggest thing is this team have got the crowd behind them. And we haven't had a team like that for a long while who have got that crowd behind them, win, lose or draw. As long as they're giving that 100. And it started last year with the young lads that even if we weren't getting results, they were putting the effort in. They were putting that 100% in every week. And it wasn't always coming off for them.
What more that's what you want. Mate, what more can we ask you? A bunch of millionaires running around, knocking a football around. We're in the middle of a crisis in the UK. But no, look, all joking aside, for me, the deciding game is when we win the North London derby at the Emirates, because that's going to happen for that crap house over there. That's the point in the season where actually we're going to start to sit there and go, hang on a sec, we're doing fairly well here. People are going to be a little bit scared to come to the Emirates. Good one, actually, Terry, mate. So I'm just going to put a couple of these comments up. Terry, injury-free, absolutely. Going to have to buy a holding midfielder right now. This is an interesting one. After the World Cup, and I think
that's going to have a massive part in the season. The World Cup being when it is going to have such a huge part of the season, not just the Premier League, but in a lot of leagues. Like like LJH has said, like if we get some injuries or some fitness issues over there, and again, not just us, it's not just going to be us, it's going to be other teams as well. That's going to be a massive factor. But on the flip side, we will probably have players who don't go to the World Cup who are important players for us, who maybe would benefit from that season break. For instance, Odegaard, Norway are not gone to the World Cup. So, he could probably do with that rest to recharge at that time of year. Will people like Smith Rowe get in the squad if he's not at Arsenal?
He's got
so there's you would think so, but you don't know if he's not getting that game time. He probably won't be taken. So there are going to be players there like Ben White. He's not a guaranteed pick. There are going to be players in our team who should be there because we think so, but that also could play in our favour.
Don't want him there.
We might have some.
Yeah, I don't want to be horrible. So to all the professional footballers, that I don't want you to go through. I don't want Saka there. I don't want anyone there. I don't want anybody.
Exactly. This year, I don't want them representing. Like just don't go. Yeah. Stay at home.
So, mate, I'm going to throw you a quick one. How are our low knees doing right now? Then, because
I'm glad you asked.
As Whitney said, the children are the future.
So I'm glad you asked because I've been looking at that just today.
Have you? What have you been looking at? Tell me. Talk to me, Adam. I'll shut up for once.
After last week, I think I've always been interested in the low knees, and we used to have this little bit in the program every now and then when I used to buy programs about Arsenal players on loan. I haven't bought a program for many, many years, but I still do it on the website and stuff. But there's a couple of players that I've been following for a little while, since the youth kind of ways I've been looking at. But first of all, I think we need to look at Mr. Nicolas Pepe, who made his debut for Nice this week. We've had a chat about Pepe on our shows on the social.
I like him, mate. I like him.
Do you know what? I've never had a problem with him, and I think he deserves more. Agreed. Anyway, he's gone to Nice. He looked like he was happy to be there as much as Nicolas Pepe looks happy. Had his first game, and he played the full 90 minutes at the weekend. They lost 3-0 to Marseille, which was a Marseille team including Alexis Sanchez, Matteo Guendouzi, and Nuno Tavares. Wow. So he had some familiar players there. I think obviously Pepe and Sanchez didn't cross over, but I'm sure that they might know each other. And I think the funniest thing I've got is that Tavares was playing left midfield / left wing, and Pepe was right midfield / right wing, and Tavares had the better of Pepe every single time from the highlights I've seen, the reports I've read. So Pepe must be thinking, great, I've come to France and I can't get rid of this dude, and he's out playing me. Sanchez scored a goal, evidently, which was assisted by Tavares. I haven't seen the goals, but I think what summed it up as well is they played him 90 minutes, right? This is the biggest thing what got me. They played him a full 90 minutes. But then their manager, Lucien Favre, who's the ex-Dortmund manager, in his interview after, meeting, actually said, we were concerned with Nicolas's lack of intensity, which created problems for the rest of the team. So why not pull him off after an hour if you've seen this? Like, that's just poor management. Like, if you're going to pull him up, chuck him under the bus afterwards, at least give him a chance, Like, you're having a go. And he actually said, like, he went down later on and kind of backed up. He said, he hasn't, he's been at Arsenal during pre-season, but he hasn't been playing games because he wasn't in their picture, so he had a lack of match fitness. But we still played him 90 minutes. Yes. Come on, man. What are you having on about? So he didn't get off to a good start returning to the Ligue 1. So we'll see with interest in how that goes. But I hope it does work out well for him. I do. I do, because maybe that's his league. He was devastating sometimes at Lille. Maybe that's the kind of league where he should be in. But, he's got Aaron Ramsey at Nice there. So he's got Kasper Schmeichel. Like, there's a few old Premier League players there. Who can look after him.
It's a nice. Nice is nice. It's nice and sunny. You can go into Monaco. It's all tax free.
Exactly.
Ferrari. All good. Yeah.
Exactly. But on the flip side, Nuno Tavares is still ripping it up for Marseille. He's still doing very, very well. Maybe he's found his level. Who knows? Maybe he'll come back a different player. We'll watch that one. But he's a never present. And there was something else that I picked up on that made me quite laugh. Again, going back to the All or Nothing briefly, was that part in All or Nothing when Arteta's screaming at Tavares, do you want to play a Champions League? Do you want to play a Champions League? He is now. He's at Marseille. In the Champions League.
Yes, mate, I do.
You know
Thank
what I
you
mean?
for the yeah.
Do you reckon Tavares is sitting home thinking, "Yeah, I do, mate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Thanks. Cheers
Yeah.
for that." So
Yeah.
he thought I'll play really bad for the second half of the season, get a loan to a Champions League place. I think he's clever. That Tavares, he's got it. I think
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
yeah, I'm not going to Nottingham on a wintry night in
No,
England where they got to heat the pitch to try and keep it going.
exactly. So there's also two more. Obviously, Tavares was one, Pepe was the other. I've got two more that I picked up this week. I looked at. One was a striker that was big things before that. Tyrese John Jules. Remember him?
Yes, yes,
So,
he's been knocking a few goals in, hasn't he?
So he's at Ipswich now,
Yeah.
and I've got a friend who's an Ipswich fan, a tractor boy, and he goes to most of the games, and they're very impressed with him. He scored one goal in 6 appearances, but he's not really playing as an out and out striker. He's playing as more of a shadow striker, as they call it, just off the main man. But evidently they're very happy with him down there, and they think that they might be able to do a deal for him at the end of the year. I don't think he's ever going to get in the Arsenal squad, given to it, but.
Oh, he's pretty
Well,
good.
I don't know. He seems to have it all. He seems to have a bit of pace. He seems quite clever. He's decent stature. But you've got players ahead of him. You've obviously got Balogun, who I think is ahead of him.
Yeah.
You've got the other lad who's gone out on loan, Bierif, who they think very, very highly of. You've got a few more strikers ahead. Obviously, we've got Eddie as well. We'll see. I would like to see him given a chance, and I think wherever he's gone, he's also done pretty well. But from what I gather, Ipswich, who are League One, they're very impressed with him, and he's doing very, very well. I saw an interview.
Yeah, if they're going to pay us big bucks, then buy him. It's kind of a moved it on, because the other one I was looking at was is it Norton Cuffley or whatever his name is? Sounds like Harry Potter character.
He's my next one on my list. Look,
my apologies, fella.
That leads me on nicely to Brooke Norton Cuffley, who went on loan to Rotherham a couple of weeks ago. So his debut was he's played 2 games in the last week. Last week he made his debut in a cup competition against Morecambe, which they lost 1-0. But evidently he played very, very well. He's playing more of a right wing back kind of role. He's playing like of a mid. Rotherham play, from what I can see, a kind of 3-4-3 kind of formation, or a 3-1-4-2 kind of thing, and he plays wide right. And they've given him a number 10 shirt for a start, for a lone player, which is like, you must be well happy with that. And considering he's gone there as a right back / right wing back, I'm not sure what they think they've signed. Like, Arteta's been on the phone to say, yeah, we've got this great winger, take him on board. He wants the number 10 shirt, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
But at the weekend, he made his debut for Rotherham against Birmingham in the league, which they won. I think it was 2-1. He evidently played really, really well. They're very impressive. He's very fast, very attacking. And now Rotherham are up to 5th in the Championship. And I'm saying it's all down to Brooke Norton Cuffley.
It has to be. It just has to be.
There's no other reason.
Two ways about it. We send some of that Arsenal love down there. Done. All of a sudden,
but for me, like, I saw a bit of him in the Euros, because it was the England Euros, weren't it? The under 19s or 20s in the summer, and he looked really good in that. From what I saw, and he looks like he's got a real future ahead of him for me.
Yeah,
like, he looks a real talent.
He's a fast unit as well, and he's a big old unit that absolutely.
And do you know what? He's got a bit of arrogance about him, and I don't mind that. I think if you've got it in the right measure.
Yes.
Because he knows he's something, but he's also willing to get himself out there. He knows that he won't going to get a shot at Arsenal. So he's gone to Rotherham, where, from what I'm gathering, he's been told he's going to be a regular starter in the Championship. Rotherham have done some good business this summer. And like they're usually that kind of yo-yo team between League One and the Championship. And they want to stay up this year and push on. It could be ideal for him. And I also think it's because Rotherham playing Arsenal's kit that he's gone there to get used to it. They have the red with the white. That all makes sense.
Why wouldn't you want to do something like that? I would. I'd be there. If I could wear an Arsenal top to work, I would.
So he's got off to a cracking start. So I'll definitely be watching him as well to see how he progresses. And that is this week's roundup from our loanees.
Just a quick one. We heard anything on Charlie Patino and how bad his injury was?
I tried to look into this because I've heard that it wasn't as bad as we first thought. I've read somewhere that it was a strain rather than a tear on his ligaments. But I've not really seen that from an official source, like not from Blackpool, not from Arsenal. But the only kind of thing that Blackpool has said is the injury is not as bad as first feared. That was the only official line, but they've not really got into it because I don't think they can. I don't think they're not allowed to comment because he's not one of their own players.
I mean,
So
I've watched him a couple of times, and I've been so impressed with him. He's another.
he looks amazing. Like he just looks special. That kid.
I just want as fans to just leave him alone. So, but look, mate, we're at the top of the hour. I can't believe an hour's gone. Yeah,
wow.
And I haven't even finished a bottle of wine. Yeah, that's where we're at.
No, me neither. I mean, what's going
on? So look,
look
I think the positives we can take away in sort of fairly negative times that we're having, all from a from a personal perspective here in the UK, is that our team is playing really well, right? We've got a few injuries, like we're 4 games in, we've got 2 days to kind of fix that. So that's not a problem. I think it's going to happen. I'm generally confident. I generally love the way the fans are playing right now. I don't know if you feel the same. The players and the fans, the interaction that sits behind it. And I just think actually it's a really good time to be an Arsenal fan. I genuinely do.
I agree. I think at the moment it's positive. Let's continue riding that wave. Long may it last. And I can't wait to get down the Emirates.
Mate, and even in negative times, it's still fun to be an Arsenal fan, whatever happens. And Adam, thank you so much for your time today. Really,
thanks for having me.
I know I threw you in it. Hopefully I can make it on Thursday as well. We'll probably be in a pub in Edinburgh. And again, listen, if you want to come on the show, if you want to be part of it, you want questions, DM us, come and find us. It's not a problem. We're here. There is no hassle. We're an open team here. We don't care who you are, what your background is, what your sexuality is. It doesn't matter, right? It's all about Arsenal. It's nothing else but Arsenal. So bring your questions in. I've had a few of them come through. So thank you to everybody. Thank you again to Adam. Really appreciate it. And come on, the Arsenal!